My name is Christina Peterson, and after 34 years delivering babies in Houston, I never imagined a runaway cat would change everything. Willow had bolted from my apartment that Tuesday evening, and now I'm racing through the museum district like a woman half my 59 years. My silver-streaked hair whips against my neck as I call her name, panic rising with each passing minute. The summer heat makes my scrubs cling uncomfortably, but I can't stop. Not when she's out there, terrified and alone. "Willow!" I shout near the Contemporary Arts Museum, my voice cracking. 3 teenagers stare at me like I've lost my mind. Maybe I have. I spot gray fur darting between parked cars on Montrose. My heart hammers as I give chase, heels clicking against hot pavement. This damn cat means everything to me. She's all I have left. The blur of fur leads me toward Herman Park, weaving between joggers and dog walkers. My lungs burn, but I push forward. Years of 12-hour shifts have kept me fit, though my knees remind me I'm not 20 anymore. Cut. That's a wrap for today. A woman's voice carries across the street. I barely register the film crew packing equipment near the Miller Outdoor Theater. All I see is Willow streaking past their cameras, heading straight for the park's central fountain. The crew scrambles as my cat disrupts their shot, and I hear someone curse creatively. "Sorry, she's mine," I call out, not slowing down. A blonde woman emerges from behind the cameras, tall and graceful despite the chaos. Her warm brown eyes track Willow's path, and without hesitation she joins the chase. Her flowing sundress contrasts sharply with my practical scrubs, but she moves with surprising agility. 12 o'clock, she shouts, pointing toward the fountain. We converge from opposite directions, both diving for the gray streak that is my escape artist. Our bodies collide with enough force to send us tumbling onto the grass, arms tangled, breathing hard. When the dust settles, Willow sits primly between us, purring as if this entire adventure was her idea. "Well, hello there, troublemaker." The stranger's voice is husky, tinged with amusement. She's younger than me, maybe mid-30s, with sun-kissed skin that speaks of time outdoors rather than fluorescent hospital lighting. "I'm so sorry about your filming." I struggle to catch my breath, acutely aware of how close we're lying. Her perfume mingles with the scent of summer grass, creating something intoxicating. She's never done anything like this before. "Don't worry about it." She sits up, brushing dirt from her dress. "We got what we needed anyway. I'm Leslie, by the way. Leslie Wilson. Christina Peterson." I scoop Willow into my arms, feeling the familiar rumble of her contentment. And this little escape artist is Willow. Leslie's laugh is rich and genuine. She has excellent timing. We were filming a piece about urban wildlife, and she provided the perfect example. Something in her tone makes me look closer. There's intelligence in those brown eyes, and a warmth that feels genuine rather than polite. Most people dismiss me as just another middle-aged healthcare worker, but Leslie studies me like I'm worth knowing. "You're a filmmaker?" I ask, settling cross-legged on the grass despite my professional attire. "Documentary producer. Always chasing the next story worth telling." She tilts her head, and I notice the way evening light catches the gold in her hair. "What about you?" "Besides being a professional cat wrangler, midwife at Houston Methodist. Though after today, I might consider a career change." The crew calls Leslie's name, but she doesn't immediately respond. Instead, she reaches over to scratch behind Willow's ears, her fingers briefly brushing mine. The contact sends an unexpected spark through me, and I pull back reflexively. "I should let you get back to work," I say, standing too quickly. "Actually, we're done for the day." Leslie rises gracefully, dusting grass from her knees. "Would you like help getting her home?" in case she decides to make another break for it. The offer surprises me. Most people would have walked away by now, especially after having their work disrupted. But Leslie seems genuinely concerned about a stranger's cat, and something about her presence feels safe. I'd appreciate that, I admit. She's craftier than she looks. As we walk toward my car, Leslie chatting easily about her work in Houston. Is hidden corners I find myself stealing glances at her profile. There's something familiar about her, like a half-remembered dream. But that's impossible. I'd remember meeting someone like Leslie Wilson. Wouldn't I? 3 days after the fountain incident, I'm reviewing patient charts when my supervisor appears with an unusual glint in her eye. Christina, you're getting the very important person treatment tomorrow. Some hotshot documentary producer wants to interview you for a healthcare series. My coffee nearly chokes me. Interview? About what? You're 34 years bringing babies into the world. Apparently someone recommended you specifically. Margaret's knowing smile makes my stomach flutter. 9 a.m. sharp, conference room B. The next morning, I spend an embarrassing amount of time choosing scrubs, settling on navy blue that brings out my eyes. Professional, nothing more. The fact that I apply lip gloss for the first time in months means nothing. When I enter the conference room, camera equipment fills every corner. Professional lights create a warm glow, and someone's arranged fresh flowers on the table. Then I see her, and my pulse quickens despite my best efforts. Leslie stands with her back to me, directing crew members with quiet authority. Her blonde hair cascades in waves down her back, and she's traded yesterday. Sundress for a sleek black blazer that emphasizes her tall frame. Christina. Her voice carries recognition and something warmer. Thank you for agreeing to this. Of course. I manage to sound steadier than I feel. Though I'm curious how you found me. The hospital has dozens of midwives. Her eyes sparkle with mischief. Let's just say a little bird told me about Houston's most dedicated healthcare professional. Someone who chases runaway cats with the same passion she brings to delivering babies. The interview begins formally enough. Leslie asks standard questions about my career, my philosophy on childbirth, the changes I've witnessed in healthcare. But as I speak, I notice her genuine interest. She leans forward when I describe difficult deliveries, nods thoughtfully, when I explain my approach to nervous first-time mothers. You've delivered over 1,900 babies, she says, consulting her notes. What keeps you motivated after so many years? Each birth is a miracle, I answer automatically, then pause. There's something about Leslie's attentive silence that invites honesty. But truthfully, I stay because sometimes I'm the only constant in chaos. When everything goes wrong, when fear takes over, I'm the steady voice saying, breathe, push, trust your body. That must be incredibly fulfilling. Her voice softens, and lonely. The observation catches me off guard. In 3 decades, no one has ever acknowledged the isolation that comes with my calling. I work nights, weekends, holidays. I've missed family gatherings, friends' weddings, my own birthday celebrations, all for strangers' babies. Sometimes, I admit quietly. The crew takes a break, leaving us alone with humming equipment. Leslie approaches with a water bottle, her professional demeanor sliding away. That was beautiful. The way you describe bringing new life into the world, it's like poetry. Hardly. I accept the water gratefully. Most days it's controlled chaos with bodily fluids. Her laugh is infectious. See? Even that sounds poetic coming from you. We're standing closer now. Close enough that I catch her subtle perfume again. Something floral with hints of citrus that makes me want to lean nearer. Can I ask you something? Leslie's voice drops to almost a whisper. Personal question, off the record. I nod, not trusting my voice. Do you ever wonder what you've sacrificed for your calling, the roads not taken? The question pierces something deep inside me. Yes, I think about the relationships that couldn't survive my schedule, the dreams I set aside, the family I never had because I was too busy delivering everyone else's babies. Every day, I whisper back. Something shifts between us in that moment. The air feels charged, intimate despite the cameras and lights surrounding us. Leslie's brown eyes search mine, and I see my own loneliness reflected there. We should continue, I say quickly, stepping back before I do something foolish. But Leslie doesn't move immediately. She studies my face like she's memorizing it, and I feel exposed in a way that has nothing to do with the camera. The afternoon flows differently after that moment. Leslie's questions become more personal, drawing out stories I've never shared. She asks about my most memorable delivery, my biggest fear, the moment I knew this was my life's work. When filming wraps, her crew packs efficiently while we linger by the window, overlooking the hospital courtyard. Thank you, Leslie says. This will be the heart of the documentary. When will it air? Couple months. But I was thinking. She hesitates, vulnerability flickering across her features. Would you like to grab coffee sometime? I mean, if you want to see the rough cut, get your input. The invitation hangs between us, loaded with possibility. Every rational part of me knows I should decline politely, maintain professional boundaries. But looking into Leslie's warm eyes, I remember what it feels like to want something for myself. I'd like that, I hear myself say. I'd like that very much. As she walks away, clipboard in hand and crew trailing behind, I watch through the window until she disappears into the parking garage. Only then do I realize I've been holding my breath. Whatever this is, it's already too late to stop it. 3 days later, I'm questioning every decision that led me to Catalyst Coffee in the Heights. My palms are sweaty, and I've changed clothes twice before settling on dark jeans and a cream blouse that Margaret claims makes me look younger. Not that this is a date. It's strictly professional consultation about documentary footage. Leslie waves from a corner booth, and my heart does that annoying flutter again. She's chosen a spot away from the main crowd, intimate without being obvious. Her hair catches the late afternoon sunlight streaming through windows, and she's traded her professional attire for a soft green sweater that emphasizes her eyes. "You found it," she says, standing to greet me. For a moment, I think she might hug me, but she settles for a warm smile instead. GPS is a wonderful thing. I slide into the booth across from her, noting she's already ordered. Though I have to admit, I've lived in Houston 30 years and never been to this neighborhood. Best coffee in the city, according to locals. But, fair warning, it's strong enough to wake the dead. The barista brings over 2 steaming mugs. Mine smells like heaven with hints of chocolate and spice. Leslie watches as I take my first sip, and I realize she's ordered for me based on some unknown preference. "How did you know I'd like this?" I ask. "Lucky guess." "You strike me as someone who appreciates complexity." The comment feels loaded with meaning, and I find myself studying her face for clues. There's something different about Leslie today. The professional polish has softened, replaced by genuine curiosity. "So, the rough cut," I begin, trying to steer us toward safer ground. "Right." Leslie pulls out her tablet but doesn't open it immediately. "Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something else first. Background material for the piece." "Of course. Tell me about your life outside the hospital. Hobbies, interests, relationships." The last word hangs in the air, and I feel heat creep up my neck. There's not much to tell. Work keeps me pretty busy. No family, friends? My parents passed years ago. My sister lives in Portland with her family. As for friends, I shrug. Hard to maintain relationships when you're constantly on call. Leslie nods thoughtfully. "What about romantic relationships? Someone special?" The directness of her question catches me off guard. Most people dance around personal topics, but Leslie meets my eyes steadily, waiting for honesty. "There was someone. Years ago." I trace the rim of my mug, surprised by my own candor. "Sarah. She was a nurse at the hospital." "Was?" "She wanted things I couldn't give. Marriage, children, a partner who came home for dinner. I was young and thought my career was enough." I meet Leslie's gaze. I was wrong, but by then it was too late. "Do you regret it?" "Every day." The confession surprises us both. I've never admitted that to anyone, barely acknowledged it to myself. But something about Leslie's presence feels safe, like a confessional where secrets can be shared without judgment. "That's honest," Leslie says softly. "Most people would give me the no regrets line." "What about you? Someone waiting at home?" "Not anymore." Her fingers tighten around her mug. "My last relationship ended 6 months ago. She said I was married to my work, that I never let anyone get close enough to matter." Was she right? Probably. Leslie's smile is rueful. Seems we have something in common. 2 workaholic women sitting in a coffee shop, discussing our romantic failures. Our eyes lock across the table, and something electric passes between us. The coffee shop noise fades to background whisper, and I'm acutely aware of everything about her. The way she unconsciously tucks hair behind her ear, the small scar on her thumb, the pulse point at her throat. "Christina." Her voice is barely above a whisper. "Yes? I need to tell you something. The documentary wasn't why I tracked you down." My heart stops. "What do you mean?" "I mean, there is no healthcare series. Not yet, anyway. I pitched it to my producer after meeting you at the fountain. She takes a shaky breath. I couldn't stop thinking about you. The way you cared about that damn cat, how you apologized for disrupting our shoot when most people would have just kept running. The revelation should anger me. She lied, manipulated the situation to see me again. Instead, I feel something close to relief. So, the interview? Real. I meant every word about your work being beautiful. But the reason I arranged it, she reaches across the table, fingertips barely brushing mine. I wanted to know you. The contact sends electricity up my arm. I should pull away, maintain professional distance, protect the careful walls I've built around my heart. Instead, I turn my hand palm up, letting our fingers intertwine. This is complicated, I whisper. I know. I don't do complicated anymore. Too old, too set in my ways. I don't believe that. Leslie's thumb traces across my knuckles. I think you're exactly the right age to stop playing it safe. The coffee shop has emptied around us without my noticing. Golden hour light streams through windows, casting everything in warm amber. Leslie's face is close enough that I can see flecks of gold in her brown eyes, close enough to count her freckles. Leslie, I breathe. Tell me to leave, and I will. Tell me this is just professional consultation, and we'll pretend that's true. But I can't form the words. Instead, I lean forward across the small table, closing the distance between us until our faces are inches apart. Her breath mingles with mine, warm and coffee-scented. I can't, I whisper against her lips. Can't what? Can't pretend anymore. And then she kisses me, soft and sweet and tentative. Her lips are warm and perfect, and when she pulls back, I feel like I'm drowning in the best possible way. Damn, I breathe. Good damn or bad damn? Very good damn. Her smile could power the entire city. The week after our coffee shop kiss, my phone buzzes constantly. Leslie's texts start professionally enough, sharing footage clips and asking technical questions. But by Wednesday, they've evolved into something more intimate. Good morning, beautiful. How many miracles are you delivering today? I stare at the message during my hospital break, heat flooding my cheeks. At 59, I shouldn't be giddy over text messages, but Leslie makes me feel like I'm rediscovering myself. 2 so far, I type back. Both girls. Very opinionated about their arrival time. Just like their midwife, I bet. The playful banter continues throughout my shift. Between contractions and coaching new mothers, I find myself smiling at my phone like a teenager. My colleagues notice the change, but I deflect their curious glances with talk of retirement plans and vacation schedules. By Thursday, Leslie's messages have become the highlight of my day. She shares details about her current project, asks about my patients, remembers that I prefer green tea over coffee on night shifts. The attention feels foreign and wonderful. Working late again? Appears on my screen at 11 p.m. Always. Emergency C-section just finished. Healthy baby boy. You must be exhausted. Want company? The offer hangs in the digital space between us. Inviting Leslie to the hospital feels like crossing a line, making whatever this is more real. Cafeteria food isn't exactly fine dining. I'll bring better options. 40 minutes later, Leslie appears in the break room with bags from a late-night Vietnamese place. She's changed from her usual professional attire into jeans and a soft gray sweater that makes her eyes look silver. You didn't have to do this, I say, accepting containers of steaming pho and fresh spring rolls. I wanted to. She settles beside me on the uncomfortable plastic chairs. Besides, I was curious about your natural habitat. Glamorous, isn't it? I gesture at the fluorescent lighting and motivational posters about hand hygiene. Actually, yes. This is where you work miracles. Where you've spent half your life bringing new souls into existence. Leslie's voice carries genuine admiration. That's pretty damn spectacular. Her words warm me more than the soup. Most people see hospitals as sterile, clinical environments. Leslie sees the sacred nature of what happens within these walls. Tell me about tonight's delivery, she says, settling closer. As I describe the complicated birth, Leslie listens with complete attention. She asks thoughtful questions, nods at the right moments, understands why certain decisions mattered. When I mention the father crying at his son's first breath, Her eyes grow misty. You gave that family their miracle, she whispers. I just helped nature along. Don't minimize what you do, Christina. You're extraordinary. The sincerity in her voice breaks something open inside me. When was the last time someone saw me as extraordinary, rather than just competent? My pager buzzes, interrupting the moment. Labor and delivery needs me for another emergency. I should go, I say reluctantly. Of course. Save more lives. But as I stand to leave, Leslie catches my hand, pulling me back down for a kiss that tastes like star anise and possibility. This time, there's urgency beneath the tenderness, and when we break apart, we're both breathing hard. Christina, she whispers against my lips. I know, this is crazy. The best things usually are. The next morning brings chaos. Emergency after emergency keeps me at the hospital past my shift change. By the time I finally escape, exhaustion weighs on my shoulders like a heavy cloak. All I want is a hot shower and 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. But Leslie is waiting by my car in the parking garage, takeout bags in hand and concern written across her features. Rough night? She asks. Triple delivery, twins and a breech. Everyone's fine, but it took forever. Come on. My place is closer than yours. I should protest, maintain some semblance of boundaries. Instead, I follow her car through Houston's morning traffic to a converted warehouse in Montrose. Her loft is all exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows, filled with the warm light of sunrise. Showers through there, she says, pointing toward a hallway. I'll heat up breakfast. The hot water strips away hospital antiseptic and exhaustion. When I emerge wrapped in Leslie's oversized robe, she's arranged food on low coffee tables beside floor cushions. The domestic intimacy feels both foreign and perfectly natural. Better? She asks, as I sink onto cushions beside her. Much. We eat in comfortable silence, sharing containers and stealing glances. The morning light streaming through windows catches the gold in Leslie's hair, and I find myself memorizing the curve of her neck, the way she unconsciously hums when she's content. Christina? She says eventually. Last night, when you were telling me about that delivery, I kept thinking how proud I am of you. How amazing it must feel to know your life's work matters so much. The unexpected emotion in her voice makes me look up. Leslie's watching me with an expression so tender it makes my chest tight. Thank you, I whisper. For what? For seeing me. Really seeing me. Something shifts between us then. The careful distance we've maintained dissolves, replaced by magnetic pull that feels inevitable. Leslie reaches for my face, tracing the line of my cheekbone with infinite gentleness. I want to know all of you, she breathes. When our lips meet this time, there's no hesitation. The kiss deepens naturally, hands finding curves in soft places, the world narrowing to just this moment. Leslie's robe slides from my shoulders as we discover each other with reverent touches and whispered endearments. In the golden morning light streaming through windows, we come together with a passion that feels both urgent and eternal. Two souls finally recognizing their perfect match. Afterwards, wrapped in each other's arms on the soft cushions, I trace patterns on Leslie's bare shoulder and marvel at this unexpected gift life has offered. No regrets? She murmurs against my hair. Not a single one. 2 weeks into whatever we're calling this, Leslie arrives at my apartment with pizza and an armload of photo albums. Research for the documentary, she explains, settling cross-legged on my living room floor. I want to include archival footage, show the evolution of healthcare over decades. I join her on the carpet, Willow immediately claiming Leslie's lap as her personal throne. The albums contain 30 years of hospital memories, colleagues who've retired or passed away, technology that's become obsolete, faces of families whose babies I delivered. Tell me about this one, Leslie says, pointing to a photo from my residency days. As I flip through pages, sharing stories and laughing at outdated hairstyles, Leslie pulls out a small magnifying glass from her bag. Always the professional, documenting every detail. Wait. She grabs my wrist as I turn a page. Go back. The photograph shows my graduating class from nursing school, 30 young women posed on the steps of Texas Medical Center. I'm in the front row, 25 years old with dark hair and ambitious eyes. Look at the background, Leslie whispers, adjusting the magnifying glass over the image. Behind the group, near those trees. I squint at the grainy background where she's pointing. There's a blur of activity, people walking past during our photo session. But one figure catches my attention. A young girl with distinctive blonde braids, maybe 7 or 8 years old. That's impossible, I breathe. Leslie pulls out her phone, scrolling to a photo from her own childhood. It's a school picture, showing a gap-toothed blonde girl with the same braids we just spotted in my nursing school photo. St. Agnes Elementary had a field trip to the medical center that day, she says quietly. I remember because I wanted to be a doctor then, before I discovered storytelling. The room spins slightly as the implications sink in. 34 years ago, while I was celebrating my nursing degree, 7-year-old Leslie walked past our photo session. We were in the same place at the same moment, separated by just a few yards and decades of life experience. We've met before, I whisper. Twice, technically. Once when we were strangers, once when we were meant to find each other. Leslie's fingers trace the outline of her childhood self in my photograph, and I'm struck by the cosmic impossibility of it all. 2 lives running parallel tracks, crossing briefly in childhood, then again at a fountain while chasing a runaway cat. Do you believe in destiny? She asks. I believe in science, statistics, probability. And what do the statistics say about this? I calculate quickly. Houston's population, the odds of our paths crossing twice, the likelihood of recognizing each other in a decades-old photograph. The numbers are astronomical. Statistically impossible, I admit. So what does that leave us with? Magic, apparently. Leslie sets the magnifying glass aside and moves closer, until we're sharing the same breathing space on my living room floor. Photo albums surround us like scattered puzzle pieces of our separate histories. I need to tell you something, she says, her voice unusually serious. My stomach clenches. In my experience, conversations that start this way rarely end well. The network approved my healthcare documentary series. They want me in New York by the end of next month to start production. The words hit like a physical blow, of course. Just when I've opened my heart again, just when I've remembered what it feels like to be seen and wanted, reality intrudes with its cruel timing. That's wonderful, I manage. It's what you've worked toward. Christina, no, really. I'm happy for you. This is exactly the kind of opportunity you deserve. Leslie cups my face in her hands, forcing me to meet her eyes. I haven't accepted yet. Why not? Because of this. Because of you. Because I've spent my entire career chasing the next story, and for the first time, I want to stay still long enough to see what happens. The declaration terrifies and thrills me in equal measure. No one has ever chosen me over career ambition, certainly not someone as talented and driven as Leslie. You can't turn down New York because of me, I say. We've known each other 3 weeks. Have we? Or have we been circling each other for 34 years, waiting for the right moment? She has a point. Every relationship I've attempted felt forced, like trying to fit puzzle pieces that didn't quite match. With Leslie, everything clicks into place effortlessly. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe the universe has a sense of humor. Maybe it took 3 decades for us to be ready for each other. Maybe that little girl with braids knew something we didn't. Leslie reaches for the photograph again, studying our younger selves with wonder. Look at you in this picture. So determined, so focused on your future. And there I am in the background, probably dreaming about adventure in faraway places. And now? Now, I think adventure might be staying in Houston with a brilliant midwife who chases cats and delivers miracles. The kiss that follows tastes like possibility and terror. Leslie's hands tangle in my hair as we sink deeper into each other, surrounded by evidence of our intertwined fate. When we break apart, both breathing hard, I see my own amazement reflected in her eyes. This is insane, I whisper against her lips. Completely. I'm too old to believe in fairy tales. Good thing this isn't a fairy tale. It's better. It's real. We make love there on the living room floor, photo albums scattered around us like witnesses to our collision of past and present. Leslie maps my body with reverent touches while I lose myself in the golden fall of her hair. Afterwards, wrapped in throws from my couch, we study the photograph that changed everything. So what happens now? I ask. Now we write our own ending. Leslie traces the younger version of herself with one fingertip, then looks at me, with eyes full of determination, and something that looks remarkably like love. I'm staying, Christina. The network can wait. Some stories are worth more than career advancement. Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. As Houston's skyline twinkles beyond my windows, we plan our first official date, and I allow myself to believe in magic again. The trouble starts with Dr. Patricia Valdez cornering me near the nurses' station during my Thursday shift. Christina, we need to talk. Her tone carries the weight of 20 years as department head, privately. In her office, Patricia closes the door with deliberate care before turning to face me. Her expression is carefully neutral, which somehow makes this worse than outright disapproval. There's been talk, she begins. My stomach drops. What kind of talk? About your frequent visitor. The blonde woman who brings you lunch, stays during long shifts. Some staff are asking questions about your relationship with her. Heat floods my cheeks. Leslie and I have been careful, professional when she's at the hospital, but apparently not careful enough. She's documenting my work for a healthcare series. For 6 weeks? Christina, I've known you since your residency. You've never mixed personal and professional life before. The accusation hangs between us. Patricia isn't wrong. In 3 decades, I've maintained strict boundaries. No personal visits during work hours, no relationships that could compromise my reputation. My personal life doesn't affect my patient care, I say firmly. That's not the issue, and you know it. This hospital has policies about conduct. More importantly, it has a culture. A conservative culture that isn't always accepting of certain lifestyle choices. The euphemism makes me flinch. Certain lifestyle choices. As if loving Leslie is some rebellious phase rather than the most genuine thing I've felt in years. Are you telling me to end my relationship? I'm telling you to be careful. Very careful. There are board members who wouldn't hesitate to find reasons for early retirement if they felt a staff member was becoming a distraction. The threat is subtle but clear. Keep Leslie away or face consequences. That evening, I sit in my car outside Leslie's loft for 20 minutes, rehearsing conversations that all end badly. When I finally climb the stairs to her door, she greets me with wine and homemade pasta, completely unaware that my world is imploding. You're quiet tonight, she observes as we eat. Tough shift? Something like that. Leslie sets down her fork, studying my face with those perceptive brown eyes. What happened? I tell her everything. Patricia's warnings, the hospital gossip, the implicit threat to my career. With each word, I watch Leslie's expression harden. They can't fire you for being gay, Christina. That's illegal. They won't fire me for being gay. They'll find other reasons. Patient complaints, scheduling conflicts, budget cuts, there are always ways. So, what are you saying? The question I've been dreading. I look at Leslie across her small dining table, surrounded by the life she's built, the dream she's pursuing, and I feel something crack inside my chest. Maybe we should be more discreet. Keep things separate until the documentary airs, until the attention dies down. Discreet how? No more hospital visits, no more lunch dates, pretend we don't know each other in public? Her voice rises with each question, and I see hurt replacing understanding in her eyes. It would just be temporary. Would it? Because it sounds like you're asking me to go back in the closet, to hide who we are because some narrow-minded people can't handle love between 2 consenting adults. It's not that simple. Isn't it? Leslie stands abruptly, pacing to the window. You've spent 30 years at that hospital. You've delivered almost 2,000 babies, saved countless lives, earned the respect of colleagues and patients alike. And you're willing to throw away your personal happiness because Dr. Valdez disapproves? You don't understand the position I'm in. Then explain it to me. The anger in her voice triggers something defensive in me. This is exactly what happened with Sarah. Career pressure, ultimatums, someone asking me to choose between love and everything I've worked for. I'm not Sarah. Leslie's voice drops to a dangerous whisper. And I'm not asking you to choose. I'm asking you to fight. Fight for what? 6 weeks of happiness? A relationship that's already complicating everything? The words leave my mouth before I can stop them, and I watch them land like physical blows. Leslie's face goes pale, then flushed with fury. 6 weeks of happiness? Is that all this is to you? That's not what I meant. No, I think it's exactly what you meant. You're scared, so you're minimizing what we have, making it smaller so it's easier to walk away from. The accusation stings because it's partially true. But she doesn't understand the weight of 3 decades of careful reputation, building, the fear of losing everything I've worked toward. I can't lose my job, Leslie. Medicine is all I know, all I am. That's bullshit. And you know it. You're not just a midwife, Christina. You're a woman who deserves to be loved openly and completely. You're someone who makes me want to stay in Houston instead of chasing opportunities in New York. About that, I say quietly, maybe you should reconsider the network offer. The silence that follows is deafening. Leslie stares at me like I've slapped her, and maybe I have. You want me to leave. I want you to be practical. This thing between us, it's moving too fast. We barely know each other. We've known each other for 34 years, remember? Destiny, magic, all that romantic nonsense you seemed to believe in last week? Her bitter tone makes me wince. But I've started this conversation, and now I have to finish it. Maybe I was caught up in the moment. Maybe we both were. Leslie walks to her front door and opens it. I think you should go. Leslie, please. Let's talk about this rationally. Rationally? You mean like how you rationally decided our relationship isn't worth fighting for? How you rationally chose fear over love? I gather my purse with shaking hands, hating myself with each step toward the door. At the threshold I turn back, hoping to find some way to fix this. I care about you. You have to know that. Caring isn't enough, Christina. Sarah was right about one thing. You are married to your work. The difference is, I thought maybe you had room for something else. I was wrong. The door closes with quiet finality, and I stand in the hallway for several minutes, listening to my own breathing and wondering how everything went so wrong so quickly. Driving home through Houston's late-night traffic, I tell myself I made the right choice, the practical choice, the safe choice. But when I reach my empty apartment, and Willow greets me with questioning meows, I collapse on my couch and allow myself to cry for what I've just thrown away. For the second time in my life, I've chosen career over love. This time, it feels like choosing death over life. 3 weeks of silence stretch between Leslie and me like an open wound. I throw myself into work with desperate intensity, picking up extra shifts and staying late for every delivery. If colleagues notice my hollow-eyed exhaustion, they don't comment. Perhaps they're relieved that my distraction has disappeared. The irony isn't lost on me. I chose my career over love, yet I've never felt less connected to my calling. Each baby I deliver feels like a reminder of what I'm missing. Each new family's joy highlighting my own loneliness. Christina, you need to see Dr. Martinez immediately, Patricia says, appearing at my station during a rare break. Room 314 is asking for you specifically. Labor and delivery room 314 buzzes with controlled chaos. Maria Martinez, one of my favorite patients, grips her husband's hand while her contractions intensify. This is her 3rd baby, but complications have made this delivery more challenging than her previous ones. Christina, thank God you're here, Maria gasps between contractions. Something feels wrong. I check her chart, noting elevated blood pressure and irregular fetal heartbeat. The situation could turn dangerous quickly, but Maria's terrified eyes remind me why I became a midwife in the first place. We're going to take excellent care of both of you, I promise, settling into the rhythm that sustained me for 3 decades. The next 4 hours test every skill I've developed. Maria's blood pressure spikes dangerously, requiring careful medication management while monitoring the baby's distress. Her husband paces anxiously, and I find myself talking him through each step, explaining what's happening and why. Is she going to be okay? He asks during a particularly intense contraction. She's strong, and we're watching everything carefully. Sometimes babies just need a little extra encouragement to join us. At 2 a.m., Maria finally begins crowning. The baby's heart rate stabilizes, and I can see the full head of dark hair that will soon belong to their daughter. One more push, Maria. I can see her beautiful face. With a final surge of effort, baby Isabella Martinez slides into my waiting hands, crying lustily and perfect in every way. The moment never gets old. This transition from pregnancy to parenthood, from potential to reality. But as I place Isabella on Maria's chest and watch the new family dissolve into tears of joy and relief, I'm struck by profound loneliness. I've helped create thousands of these moments, but I've never experienced them myself, never felt the overwhelming love that transforms strangers into families. She's perfect, Maria whispers, kissing her daughter's tiny fist. Just like her mother, her husband adds, stroking both their faces with infinite tenderness. The intimacy of their connection makes my chest ache. This is what I walked away from with Leslie. Not just romance or companionship, but the possibility of building something meaningful together. As I complete my documentation and prepare to leave the new family to bond, Maria calls my name. Christina, wait. There was a woman here earlier asking about you. Blonde, very pretty. She said she was making a documentary. My heart stops. Leslie was here? She'd been coming by for weeks, but you were always with other patients. Tonight she waited in the hallway for hours. She only left about an hour ago. Did she say what she wanted? Just that she needed to talk to you. She looked sad, Christina. Like someone who'd lost something important. The revelation follows me home, where Willow greets me with unusual enthusiasm. As I feed her and change from scrubs into pajamas, I can't stop thinking about Leslie waiting in hospital corridors, hoping to see me. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Documentary premieres tomorrow night at the Wortham Theater. You should be there. It's your story too. L. I stare at the message for 20 minutes, reading between every line. Leslie has finished the healthcare series despite our broken relationship. Despite me telling her to leave Houston to pursue her New York opportunity, she stayed and completed what she started. The next evening, I stand outside the Wortham Theater in downtown Houston, wearing my best black dress and fighting the urge to flee. The marquee announces bringing life, stories from Houston's healthcare heroes in bold letters, and a steady stream of medical professionals enters the building. Inside, the theater buzzes with conversation. I recognize colleagues, administrators, even some of my former patients who've come to support the premiere. Near the front, I spot Leslie in animated conversation with a group of film industry professionals. She's stunning in a midnight blue dress that emphasizes her tall frame, her blonde hair swept into an elegant updo. When she turns slightly, I catch her profile and feel that familiar flutter of attraction mixed with regret. Christina, Patricia Valdez appears at my elbow. I'm so glad you came. This documentary is going to be wonderful publicity for the hospital. Before I can respond, the lights dim and Leslie takes the stage. A spotlight illuminates her as she approaches the microphone, and I'm struck by her natural confidence, the way she commands attention without demanding it. Good evening, Houston. 3 months ago, I set out to document the extraordinary work of our local healthcare heroes. What I discovered was much more than medical expertise. I found dedication that transcends job descriptions, compassion that transforms strangers into family, and courage that faces life's most precious moments. Her eyes scan the audience, and for a split second, they find mine. Even from this distance, I feel the connection we've tried to sever. Tonight, you'll meet several remarkable individuals, but I want to begin with someone who embodies everything beautiful about bringing new life into this world. Christina Peterson has delivered nearly 2,000 babies over 3 decades. But more than that, she's been a constant source of strength for families in their most vulnerable moments. The screen behind Leslie fills with footage from our interview. I watch myself talking about the sacred nature of birth, the responsibility I feel toward every mother and child. Leslie has edited the piece beautifully, capturing not just my words but the passion behind them. Christina Peterson represents the very best of Houston medicine, Leslie continues, her voice carrying across the packed theater. She's someone who sacrifices personal comfort for professional calling, who shows up at 3 a.m. for strangers' emergencies, who makes miracles look routine. The footage shifts to scenes of me during actual deliveries. Leslie's camera's somehow capturing intimate moments without intruding. I see myself through her eyes, competent, caring, completely devoted to my patients. But what struck me most about Christina wasn't her professional excellence. It was her willingness to open her heart despite personal cost, her courage in choosing love over fear, authenticity over safety. My breath catches. This isn't just documentary footage anymore. Leslie is speaking directly to me, using the premiere as her own declaration. Sometimes, she continues, we meet someone who changes our entire understanding of what's possible. Someone who makes us want to be braver, kinder, more honest about what we need. Christina Peterson is that person for me. The audience is completely silent, hanging on every word. I can feel Patricia's surprised stare, but I can't look away from Leslie on that stage. I came to Houston to document healthcare heroes. Instead, I found my home. I found the woman I want to build a life with, if she'll have me. The spotlight swings across the audience until it finds me, frozen in my seat. Every eye in the theater turns toward me, and I feel completely exposed under the bright light. Christina, Leslie's voice carries clearly through the microphone. I'm staying in Houston. The network can wait. Some stories are worth more than career advancement. Will you write the next chapter with me? The theater erupts in applause and cheers. Several colleagues pat my shoulders encouragingly, and I realize that Leslie has just publicly claimed our relationship in front of Houston's entire medical community. With shaking legs, I stand and make my way toward the stage. Leslie meets me halfway, stepping down into the aisle as the spotlight follows our movement. You stayed, I whisper when we're close enough to touch. I told you I would. But your career, the opportunities. Some things matter more than opportunities. She reaches for my hands, holding them gently in front of hundreds of witnesses. I love you, Christina. Not the midwife, not the healthcare hero. You, the woman who chases cats and cries at every delivery and makes me want to be worthy of your trust. The words I've been afraid to say finally find their voice. I love you too. I've been miserable without you. When we kiss in the theater aisle, the crowd erupts again. This time, their applause sounds like celebration rather than surprise. As we hold each other under the bright lights, I realize that choosing love doesn't diminish my professional identity. If anything, Leslie's presence in my life makes me more complete, more capable of bringing my whole self to every patient interaction. No more hiding, she whispers against my ear. No more hiding, I promise. The curtain falls on fear and rises on possibility. 6 months after the documentary premiere, I wake up in Leslie's arms, wondering how I lived 59 years without this feeling. Morning light streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows of our shared space, and I trace lazy patterns on her bare shoulder while she sleeps. We'd moved in together 3 weeks after that theatrical declaration of love. Combining her modern loft aesthetic with my more traditional furniture, Willow immediately claimed the entire apartment as her domain, though she shows particular preference for Leslie's expensive camera equipment as napping spots. Good morning, beautiful, Leslie murmurs. Eyes still closed but lips curved in a sleepy smile. How do you always know when I'm awake? Your breathing changes. Plus, you do this thing where you count my freckles with your fingertips. Heat floods my cheeks. I do not. 17 on my left shoulder, 23 on my right. You've been very thorough in your research. Leslie rolls over to face me, hair tousled and eyes bright with mischief. Even first thing in the morning, she's stunning in that effortless way that still takes my breath away. Speaking of research, she says, reaching for her phone on the nightstand, we got some news yesterday. What kind of news? The kind that involves a phone call from the Regional Emmy Committee. My heart stops. Leslie, no. Leslie, yes. Bringing life one outstanding documentary short subject. We're officially award-winning filmmakers. The announcement hits me like lightning. In all my years of medical practice, I've received recognition for patient care and professional excellence, but never anything like this. Never something that celebrates the artistry of what I do, rather than just the competence. This is incredible, I breathe. You deserve this so much. We deserve this. The documentary wouldn't exist without your story, your willingness to let me into your world. Leslie's correction warms me more than the actual award. She consistently frames our successes as shared accomplishments, never taking full credit for her brilliant work. My phone buzzes with congratulations from colleagues who've seen the early morning news coverage. Even Patricia Valdez sends a text, proud of you both. Hospital board wants to discuss expanded documentary series. Looks like you're officially forgiven for dating the filmmaker, Leslie teases, reading over my shoulder. More than forgiven. Yesterday, doctor. Martinez asked if I'd consider heading up a new program for high-risk deliveries. Apparently, my public profile makes me an ideal candidate for grant funding. Are you interested? Maybe. It would mean more administrative work, less direct patient care, but more influence over policy, more opportunities to improve maternal health care standards. Leslie understands the complexity of my career decisions in a way few people could. She sees beyond my current role to the larger impact I could have on women's health in Houston. We spend the morning celebrating in bed, making love with the lazy intensity of couples who no longer doubt their future together. Afterwards, as we share coffee and pastries from our neighborhood bakery, Leslie pulls out her tablet. I want to show you something, she says, opening a real estate app. The screen displays photos of a charming Heights bungalow with a wraparound porch and mature oak trees. The interior shots show hardwood floors, updated kitchen, and a perfect home office that could accommodate Leslie's editing equipment. It's beautiful, I say carefully. Are you thinking of moving? I'm thinking of us moving, together, permanently. The suggestion takes my breath away. We've been living together successfully, but buying a house represents commitment on an entirely different level. Leslie, we've only been officially together 8 months. We've been together 34 years, remember? We just took a scenic route to figure it out. Her logic is simultaneously ridiculous and perfectly sound. When I study the house photos more carefully, I can envision our life there. Morning coffee on the front porch, Leslie's equipment in the office, Willow claiming the sunny window seats. There's something else, Leslie says, scrolling to a different photo. Look at the backyard. The yard is spacious and beautifully landscaped, with raised garden beds and a small greenhouse near the back fence. But what catches my attention is the structure in the corner, a converted garage with large windows and a separate entrance. What is that? According to the listing, it's a wellness studio. Previous owners used it for yoga classes. But I was thinking it could be something else. Like what? Like a private practice. An independent midwifery clinic where you could work with high-risk patients, teach childbirth classes, maybe even train other midwives. The possibility unfolds in my mind like a flower opening to sunlight. My own practice, free from hospital politics and administrative constraints. A place where I could combine traditional midwifery with modern medicine, creating the kind of personalized care I've always wanted to provide. The overhead would be enormous, I say practically. Insurance, licensing, equipment costs. The Emmy comes with a cash prize. Plus, my production company is expanding into educational content. We could develop a series about natural childbirth, prenatal care, women's health advocacy. You've really thought this through. I've thought about our future constantly since that night at the theater. This feels right, Christina. A home base where we can both do our best work while building a life together. Leslie's vision is compelling and terrifying in equal measure. At 59, most people are contemplating retirement, not starting new ventures. But looking at this woman who's chosen to build her career around celebrating my work, I feel anything but ready to slow down. Can we see it? I ask. The house, I mean. Before we get too carried away with dreams. I already scheduled a showing for this afternoon. Her presumption should annoy me, but instead, it makes me laugh. Leslie knows me well enough to predict my eventual yes, even when I'm still finding my way to the answer. The house exceeds even the beautiful photos. Every room feels bathed in natural light, and the converted studio space practically hums with possibility. As we walk through each area, I can see our future taking shape. Leslie editing documentaries in the office while I consult with patients in the studio, both of us pursuing meaningful work while building something lasting together. What do you think? Leslie asks as we stand on the back porch, surveying our potential domain. I think we're completely insane. Good insane or bad insane? The very best kind of insane. That evening, as we celebrate both our Emmy win and our housing decision with champagne and takeout Chinese food, Leslie raises her glass in a toast. To new beginnings and second chances. To finding home in unexpected places, I add. We clink glasses surrounded by moving boxes and architectural dreams. Willow purring approval from her perch atop Leslie's camera case. 6 months ago, I was a single midwife approaching 60 with nothing but work to show for my life. Now I'm an Emmy winner planning a private practice with the woman I love. The transformation feels miraculous, but Leslie insists it's simply the natural result of finally choosing courage over fear. Either way, I'm grateful for every twist of fate that brought us to this moment. 2 years later, I catch my reflection in the studio windows and barely recognize the woman staring back. Gone is the tired hospital midwife who lived for work alone. In her place stands someone radiant, purposeful, completely transformed by love and partnership. "Christina, your 2 o'clock is here," Leslie calls from the main house, where she's editing our latest documentary about maternal health in underserved communities. Mrs. Rodriguez enters the studio with the careful waddle of a woman 8 months pregnant with her 4th child. "This delivery will be special, marking my 2000th baby since starting private practice. The milestone feels significant in ways I couldn't have imagined during my hospital years." "How are we feeling today, Maria?" I ask, helping her onto the examination table Leslie and I picked out together. "Happy, nervous, ready to meet this little one who keeps kicking me awake at 3 a.m. As I check Maria's vitals and listen to her baby's strong heartbeat, I'm struck by the intimacy of private practice. Here, I know every patient's story, their fears and dreams, their extended families who'll welcome each new arrival. This is medicine as it should be. Personal, unhurried, focused entirely on the miracle of birth. "Everything looks perfect," I tell Maria. 2 more weeks, maybe less. After she leaves, I find Leslie in our kitchen, surrounded by editing equipment and coffee cups. She looks up from her computer screen with the smile that still makes my heart flutter after all this time. "How's the documentary coming?" "Almost finished. The footage from last week's delivery is incredible. You can actually see the moment that baby takes her first breath." Leslie has filmed dozens of births now, her respectful presence becoming part of the birth experience for many families. Her documentaries about natural childbirth and women's healthcare have gained national attention, establishing us as Houston's most celebrated midwife filmmaker partnership. "Speaking of babies," she says, closing her laptop, "I have something for you." Leslie produces a wrapped package from behind her back. Inside, I find a leather-bound photo album with 2,000 miracles embossed on the cover. "Open it," she urges. The first page shows that original nursing school graduation photo, where we discovered 7-year-old Leslie in the background. But this time, she's circled both our faces and written, "The beginning of everything." The subsequent pages chronicle our journey, my hospital years, Leslie's early career, our collision at Herman Park Fountain, the documentary filming, our Emmy win, the house purchase, and dozens of births we've shared since opening the practice. "Leslie, this is beautiful. Look at the last page. There, mounted carefully, is an ultrasound image dated just 2 weeks ago. Below it, Leslie has written, 'Our next chapter begins here.' My hands shake as understanding dawns. The ultrasound shows twins, clearly visible at what appears to be 12 weeks gestation. "How?" I whisper. "Jennifer Martinez, remember her? She's been wanting to give back after we helped her through that difficult delivery. She offered to be our surrogate, use donor eggs, and help us have the family we never thought possible." Tears stream down my face as I study the ultrasound image. 2 tiny hearts beating, 2 futures growing, 2 babies who will call us both mother. "You're serious? We're going to be parents?" "We're going to be parents. At 61 and 36, we're going to learn how to change diapers and lose sleep and worry constantly about tiny humans who depend on us completely." I laugh through my tears, amazement and terror warring in my chest. After delivering thousands of babies, I'm finally going to have my own. After choosing career over family for decades, love has given me both. "This is insane," I breathe. "The very best kind of insane," Leslie agrees, using our familiar refrain. We hold each other in our sun-filled kitchen, surrounded by the life we've built together. Through the windows, I can see my studio where tomorrow I'll help another family welcome their miracle. In 6 months, Leslie and I will be on the other side of that experience, becoming parents ourselves. That evening, we drive to Herman Park Fountain where our story began. The same water dances in the same patterns, but everything else has changed. We're no longer 2 lonely women chasing a runaway cat. We're partners, lovers, soon-to-be parents planning our commitment ceremony. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if Willow hadn't escaped that day? Leslie asks, settling beside me on the fountain's edge. Every day. But I think we would have found each other eventually. Some connections are inevitable. Even if it took 34 years? Especially then. We needed all that time to become women worthy of this love. Leslie pulls out a small velvet box, and my heart stops completely. Christina Peterson, will you marry me? Will you raise these babies with me? Will you be my partner in every sense for whatever time we have left? The ring is simple and perfect. A single diamond surrounded by smaller stones that catch Houston's city lights like captured stars. Yes, I whisper. Yes to everything. Our kiss tastes like champagne and possibility, witnessed by the same fountain that brought us together. When we break apart, both crying happy tears, I notice a familiar gray shape watching us from the nearby bushes. Willow? Leslie calls. But it's not my cat. This one is smaller, younger, with distinctive white paws. As we watch, laughing at the cosmic joke, the little copycat disappears into Houston's twilight. Some patterns repeat themselves across generations, creating new stories while honoring old ones. 6 months later, Jennifer gives birth to healthy twin girls in my studio while Leslie films their first moments. As I place my daughters on my chest for the first time, breathing in their new baby scent and marveling at their perfect fingers, I understand finally what all those other families felt. This is completion. This is home. This is the life I never dared dream possible. At 61, I'm beginning my greatest adventure yet.